On this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast, Donatello dons his prophet hat but loses his cat.
And Kevin Tran gets dropped in like baby in the bunker. Let's do this.
Silk's move where it's called a hip key, and basically like you lift your butt off the ground and then you scissor your legs around until you're hanging by your hips, and shockingly it's really hard.
That sounds
so
fun.
My legs hurt from, I hope Dave hears this, my legs hurt from scissoring and straddling.
I
also want to see. I also want to see Riverside translate that at some point. All right, let's go ahead and actually start this.
Welcome to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana,
and I'm Liz,
and we're going to talk season 11, episode 21, All in the Family. Well, Liz, what have you been up to? Don't do it! Don't do it! Don't do it!
So I just got back from La La Land, where I took a quick trip to go see Twin Temple play. They're a really good satanic doo-wop band out of LA. Their Halloween show is fantastic. And I got their bleed and greet, and oh my God, like 100 other people did. Like I was at the front of the line and I got out and just saw like they are troopers for meeting and greeting that many people. Like they sign something for each person. They talk to them. They take pictures with them. Like that is some fandom. Like that's some shit there. So good on them. And I will say, just because I know we talked about it on this show before, in terms of security, the Wiltern has really like stepped up their game. They actually made me take my studded belt off. And then when I still set off the metal detector, because the rest of me was still covered in studs, because did you really think me taking off the belt was going to like stop that alarm from going off? They actually had a woman there, and I got a full pat down. So, which is pretty crazy. Like, yeah. So I had to like put my belt back on like I was at an airport and shit. But, so that was... Dang. That is the status of you can't sneak anything into the Wiltern. You absolutely could. I mean, like you, whatever. Like they have really good security there. Good on them.
They have good security. Yeah,
they're good on security. So, that is my review of the Wiltern. Bathroom 7 out of 10, and drinks are still way too fucking much. Anyway, so what have you been up to?
Yeah. We we had our. Dressed up for Halloween and ended up just going out to dinner and having a beverage. We were very sad at our lack of trick-or-treaters this year. So now we have too much candy. Actually, I gave a bunch of it to work, so that's good. But yeah, it's just another week. Got some good concerts coming up, and I know you're going to that one as well. So just trying to get back to music.
I am not. I was like, I am going to a concert. It was like, I'm not going to a concert. Like, I'm going to see the goddamn Muppets and going on a supernatural cruise. Like, that's like, I think the big news is I will be joining, not as a featured guest, just as a lurker. I will be lurking on the supernatural creation cruise, and that should be a good time. So if you're on there, find me. And
yes,
I was gonna say find me and we'll hook up, but that sounds weird.
That's not how you mean that.
No.
Or do you? I'm just kidding.
Or maybe. Depends on, hey, do you have a dog? I don't think you can bring dogs on cruises, so
I don't think you can.
Yeah, if you can sneak a pet on the cruise, you definitely need to let me know.
There you go. All right. Well, we are almost to the end of the season.
We have.
Exciting.
We've reached season 11, episode 21, All in the Family. And it first aired May 11th, 2016, and was directed by Thomas J. Wright, who we last saw doing this season. He did Baby, and last season he did The Prisoner and the infamous Reichenbach. And this was written by the partner pair of Eugenie Rosleming and Brad Buckner, who this season they did The Bad Seed, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and Hell's Angel. So good to see them closing out the season. And so we are going to start with the Samulet, and the Samulet's glowing. And we're pretty much picking up where we left off in the last episode.
Yes, right where Sam and Dean have found Chuck standing in the middle of the road. And Dean's like, Chuck's like, let's go talk. And Dean's like, no, I don't trust you, motherfucker. And Chuck's like, well, too bad. I'm going to snap my fingers and we're going to go somewhere else anyways. And they go to the bunker. And then we get a big surprise. Because who's in the bunker with Chuck?
Kevin Tran.
What? Kevin's there. Oh my gosh. And he's like, oh guys, you should totally just trust Chuck. I'm telling you should trust him. I trusted you guys. And Dean's like, that didn't work out so well. And Sam's like, are you okay? And then, and he's like, yeah, but, and Chuck's like, nope. Okay. So Kevin, we're going to upgrade you now. Bye. Go to heaven.
Which I think is rude. And he has... First off, he cuts him off while he's in the... Him and Sam haven't spoken to each other in a very long time. He's been off in the Vale with his mom. Can't really talk to anybody, you know? And so he hasn't spoken since season 9, episode 14. That's the last time that Kevin spoke to Sam. So, and then you're just like, poof, you gotta go now.
That's a long time.
And then Dean so eloquently comments, holy crap, after Kevin gets sucked off.
Yeah, he does. Nice. Yeah. And they're just like, what the fuck? So they all go sit down to process. And Sam is babbling about fucking believing and praying and all the thing. And Chuck's like, yeah, I hear you, but I also am getting that Dean's not really on board here. And Dean's like, well, I assume you came back for the darkness, but you've been gone for a really long time. And there's been a lot going on Earth while you've been gone. You know, and you're just sitting around, you know, writing books and going to fan conventions. What the hell? So, were you even aware of what the fuck was going on? And Chuck's like, oh yeah, I was aware. Yeah. And Dean's like, so you just didn't do anything? You got people praying and building churches and all this. You just didn't do anything. And he's like, Chuck's like, yeah, I just got, you know, it was frustrating. You know, I was very hands-on for a long time. And, you know, I was doing all of this teaching and punishing, and I just was waiting. Eventually I was like, I think they're going to grow up. And, you know, but they stayed the same. So I just stepped away to let them find their way. That was his plan. Pushing the baby birdie out of the nest. I guess. He didn't want to be enabling. And then Dean's like, it didn't get better, but Chuck thinks that it has, which I think is an interesting note. And Dean's like, you're just trying to justify things. And Chuck tells him to not confuse him with his dad. Oof.
And it's not completely off base that, one, Dean Winchester has daddy issues, and two, that there is serious alignment between the absence of the godfather figure with the absence of the father figure of John Winchester. It is an allegory in the storyline for, specifically a reason, probably. So, sure. But he's not wrong there, but Dean still feels really butthurt about that.
He does. So we cut to Cassifer getting tortured by Amara. And he is looking a little rough at this point in time. And she just keeps saying she wants him to call out to God and beg. And he laughs at her. And he calls him, and he's like, look, I just did something. You're mad because I did something you couldn't. All you wanted was nothing. And that's not very inspiring. So he said, you might defeat him, but you will never be him. I think this is the first time in this episode we kind of get a little like there's this, and we've heard it before talking about how, the darkness is like nothing, and darkness, whatever, and God light and his existence. And this is an ongoing theme in the episode. So, yeah. So we go back to the bunker where Chuck's explaining that, yeah, he came off the sideline because of Amara. But, he's, anyways, she was always telling him what to do. And of course, obviously, as a sibling, they know how that works, which is an interesting jab. But he can't help them find her because she has warded herself against him. And, but he's got faith. He's got faith in Sam and Dean Winchester. They can find it. And, I'm going to go take a shower. Bye. And, Dean uses this opportunity to share that Amara has Lucifer. And Sam's like, we heard the last time that Amara was put away, Lucifer helped. So we thought that'd be helpful. And Chuck does not like this. He is like, what the fuck? No, you cannot trust Lucifer. That's why I put him in the cage. And remember, y'all are the ones that let him out. What the fuck? And as bad as he was, he spent all the time in prison. He's probably going to be worse now. Did we think about that? And so now it's going to be a trap. So they're not going to try to leverage Lucifer. And he, thus spake the Lord, decrees it.
Yep. So he puts his foot down and we go back to Amara's hidey hole. And Amara is sensing that something is different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she has been able to sense that God might be back. That's what she's sensing. And she refers to her brother as a brat because she needed solitude and he needed a fan club. So he made all of this world and then shoved her in a hole. And so when she complained about it. So, and Lucifer just tells her to stop whining. So she knocks him the fuck out. But, we go back to the bunker where Dean is researching at the map table and he is searching for cases as signs of Amara. And now she is back in his head. I don't know if she's appearing to him, but she's able to appear to Dean and talk to him. Right? I don't know.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's talking to him. She's like, I miss you. And I'm aware that my brother's there. And by the way, Lucifer's not doing well. And neither is his vessel. So, are you ignoring me? Because you're allowing all this to happen by ignoring me. You need to spend that message. So. We cut to Lewis, Oklahoma, and there's this house, and we got some weather vanes spinning, and we've got sounds of car wrecks and people being upset, and a fog is rolling in, and everybody's running in the street, and this dude comes outside and looks very scared on his porch. That's pretty much all we see. He's very scared on his porch watching all this happen. So Sam is researching back at the bunker, and he's wishing Rowena was there, which is an interesting note because she would be able to help them find Amara. And Dean's like, I don't know about that. And she's probably hiding until this all is past. And they guess that Chuck, they don't know where Chuck is. He has been sleeping in and taking long showers and singing a lot. But Sam's like, this is kind of like, so many things that he wants to ask, all these questions he wants to ask about, planets and ears, because that's what Sam's concerned with. And Dean's like, you need to chill out here. We need to figure this out. Because, by the way, Amara's in my fucking head. And apparently Cass isn't doing well. So we do get Chuck entering with wearing Dean's robe, which he does not love. But he did manage to manifest a box of voodoo donuts, which I think might make up for wearing the robe. But he said it's like a mistake for them to fuck around with Lucifer. It's too much drama. So Lucifer is drama, which I can see that. And Sam's like, oh shit, I just found another case of Amara Fog. I don't know if his town was as lucky as last time, though, because there's thousands dead except for one man. Boom, boom, boom. And Chuck's like, they're just baiting us. That's very manipulative. And Dean's like, what the fuck? People are dying. And Chuck's like, that's very sad. That's very her. Go find her. And we get the return at a bar of Metatron, who is slowly reading through God's manuscript, still at a bar that's full of people. And he sees the news about this toxic cloud and all these fatalities. And he climbs up on the bar and turns and grabs a remote to hear the story. But he pauses it, and we see a moment where it actually shows when Sam and Dean were meeting Chuck. So now he knows that they have met. Which I guess that tells him where. It doesn't really tell us how, because he was in the God bar and now he's in a regular bar, and they don't really he just appeared there. God just sent him away. Well, Sam and Dean drive to Oklahoma, and on the way they get a call, and Dean's screen says scribe calling. And it is obviously Metatron saying he's got info they need to know about Chuck. So they need to meet in person. But Sam and Dean are en route to the Oklahoma Sheriff's Department because they want to know what the hell happened with this one guy that survived the fog there. And so they meet Donatello Redfield. He's named after the sculptor, not the Ninja Turtle. And apparently the cops think that he is a terrorist, but he is a chemistry professor and has not noticed anything out of place before this. They've never had fog like that, and everybody's just grabbing their throats and these black streaks on them, and we're seeing clips of that while they're talking about it. And we see a woman that claps and dies with the black lines on her. But this dude, Donatello, doesn't get that impact. He gets struck by lightning, kind of, and his head starts exploding with knowledge and clarity and symbols and voices and languages. His eyes glow, but he also sees Amara in the darkness, and it's horrible visions of destruction and death. So Sam and Dean step away to go sidebar. They're like, this sounds familiar. This is like Kevin. Is he a prophet? They're like, well, we thought Crowley killed them all, but maybe he missed one or there's new ones popping up from Amara's god power. So that's the partial theory that now Donatello is another prophet. So I guess that could be helpful with the Amara situation.
Maybe.
Well, Dean's going to get coffee, and Sam's decides to test Donatello and show him, draw some symbols in his notepad and be like, can you read this? And Donatello's like, no, of course not. I can't read that. Oh, of course I can, and translates it. And then Sam shares that the people that speak that language are angels. And while Dean is drinking crappy sheriff's office coffee, Amara appears to him, saying that she needs to meet with him alone. And it vanishes. So, anyways, we've got Donatello in the car with Sam and Dean. And he's like, I can't be a prophet. I'm an atheist. And they very poorly explain this to this guy who's just had something very odd happen to him. It's super awkward. And they're like, yeah, you were touched by God or a sister. I don't know. And she wants to annihilate the universe. Ta-da. That's why you have all this knowledge now and you didn't die. And he's like, we want you to help us find her. And she's hiding. Anyways, explaining Lucifer, and Lucifer's possessed by an angel, or possessing an angel, and Donatello is like, fuck this, and tries to jump out of the moving car, but the doors are locked because they hold monsters in there sometimes. So Donatello is just insisting he can't do this. This is like asking me to believe in Santa. And Dean's like, we're not asking you to believe anything. We just want you to act like you do. That's all we need. And Donatello's like, oh, I'm sensing something. I just don't know what. So we go back to the bunker, and Chuck is watching curling, which I guess is a good enough, experience at that point. And he is eating Chinese food in his boxers. Dean comes in. He's like, look, I think we found the next prophet. By the way, are you watching on my laptop there? Because that's what he's watching curling on. And Chuck comments that he's never seen so much porn, at least not in one sitting. Ugh. Anyways, so Dean's like, no, he's dial back the God stuff because this prophet's kind of eked out. So just chill a little bit. So Sam and Donatello come down into the bunker, and Chuck's like, hi, Donatello. I'm very sorry about your cat who died during the fog. And Donatello's like, how do you know me? And he's like, Chuck's like, I made you. I made all of you, even those not born yet. So he clearly did not take Dean's warning. And we've got Donatello groveling a bit and how he's an atheist until 10 minutes ago. And Chuck's like, that's not an issue. I included free will in the kit. So, I guess. So Sam and Dean are going to go meet Metatron. And it's pretty funny because we have Trini Lopez, crooked little man, playing while they're on their way to go meet him. Nicely done. And Metatron orders top shelf margaritas for Sam and Dean. And I'm going to jump ahead a minute because they go ahead and they serve these while they're talking. And this is the grossest looking margarita I've seen in a minute. It's in like an iced tea glass with no ice. I'm sure in that color of it, that is just like straight up like the mix, like the shitty mix. And it's probably warm. Oh.
Yeah, no, it did not look like top shelf.
Oh, no, so many Tums to be able to drink that. Oh, gross. Anyways. Well, Sam's like, I don't want any bullshit from you, Metatron. And Metatron whining, like, what am I going to do? I don't even have grace. Nah. And then he's like, by the way, I know that you met Chuck. And, Sam's kind of like, yeah, and he agreed to take on Amara. Metatron's like, wait, he said that? That was his exact words. And I think as a viewer, when you realize Chuck has not said that. That has not been his exact words that he was going to take on Amara. Because Dean's like, pretty much. And we're like, oh, this is bad. This is bad. And Metatron's like, no. He's going to meet with her, but he's not going to take her down. He is going to sacrifice himself and let her do whatever the fuck she wants. And Sam's like, no. And Metatron's like, fuck yeah, read this. This is not his autobiography. This is a suicide note. Ooh. So his big old writing, Metatron believes is his farewell. And
he literally sang "Fare thee well."
Well, he did. So, you're right. It's pretty clear that is the intention, that Metatron has fully grasped, but Chuck has not admitted openly. He's danced around, and Sam and Dean are not privy to until now.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut to the park where Chuck is watching kids play in a sandbox, and Dean meets him there and Chuck's just eating popcorn, talking about the endlessly optimistic kids rebuilding their towers. And Dean's like, "Why are you bailing? Why are you throwing in the towel?" And Chuck's like, so Metatron ratted me out. You think I'm a dick. What do you care? And Dean's like, "Before you disappeared, you did a lot." And, and Chuck thinks like, "No, this is strategy. I have a plan here. Her beef is with me, and so I'm going to trade myself for everything I created." And Dean's like, "Yeah, I'm pissed. Then it'll be her turn." And Chuck's like, no, we're going to make a deal. And Dean's like, "No, she told me she'll still illuminate all of us. And you started all of this. And but does that give you the right just to end it all? We're just toys that you can throw away." And Chuck's like, "Well, if my plan doesn't work, humans will just step up. That's why I saved you for years. You're my firewall between light and dark." Get that again. But also, that's a lot of fucking pressure. Like, Sam and Dean, that's it.
Also, someone said that you're a chosen, so run away. It's a cult. But this really is a record rip, too, of Chuck saying how, the Winchesters really were special and that he really was the one that was pulling, reanimating Dean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Dean's like, "Hold on a minute. That's killing a vampire. Sure, we got that. But God's sister going up against her, that's above our pay grade. And you have to take her out. Then you can go to your condo in Cancun." So I also think that's a weird out to give Chuck. Is like, you're mad at him for being gone, and then he's back, but he's not going to do what you want him to do. So you're saying do this one thing and then you can disappear again? I don't know if that's a good strategy, but oh well. So back at the bunker, Dean is giving Donatello a beer. Not sure if he drinks.
Yeah, so he gives Donatello a beer, and he says, "I don't know if you drink." And then Donatello delivers one of his classic zingers and says, "I do now." And he has just had some one-liners throughout this episode. And so I think it's time that we highlight some one-liners throughout Supernatural. And we are going to do a Who Said It game, where I'm going to give you a quote from Supernatural, and you're going to have to guess which character said it.
All right.
We, of course, are not doing any past now. So all of these lines have come from prior to now in the show. All right.
Thank you.
Your first, yes. You can still probably feel it. All right. Your first one. "I found a liquor store and I drank it." Who said that?
I remember it and I can't. Was that Cass?
It is. That was Cass in season 5's 99 Problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. All right, your second one. "Good evening, barkeep. I would like to purchase an alcohol, please."
Sam.
Correct. That is Sam from season 5, episode 12, Swap Meet. All right. Rolling on. Not season. Question number 3. Or I guess quote number 3. "You don't shoot Bambi, jackass. You shoot Bambi's mother."
Bobby.
That was totally a Bobby. That is from Supernatural season. Of course, it's from Supernatural. Oh my God. It is from season 7, How to Win Friends and Influence Monsters. All right. Quote number 4. "Of course, there's nothing more dangerous than some a-hole who thinks he's on a holy mission."
Dean.
Yes, that is totally a Dean line too. And that is from season 4, seasonally appropriate. It's the Great Pumpkin, Sam Winchester. All right, quote number 5. With all due respect, Simmons, I don't think you can handle my rod.
Crowley.
Yep, that is Crowley. That is from this season. That was in Beyond the Mat. Okay. Number 6. I don't understand that reference.
I'm going to go with Dean.
Nope, that's Cass. It was Cass in season 5. The song remains the same before he got all of the references put into his head. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn it.
Quote number 7. Getting my ass kicked by those juggalos was therapeutic.
Sam?
It was. That was Sam in season 7, Penny Whistle's Magical Menagerie. All right, quote number 8. Spitting on ammo. And that was in, if you need a little more hint to that, that was in reference to Sam's college fund.
I'm going to say, oh man. I don't know that one. Oh, it's doing so good. I'm gonna guess.
Who spent Sam's college fund on ammo?
John.
Yeah, it was John.
Okay.
All right, quote number 9. I'll give you a bonus when I make up for it later. All right, quote number 9. You say that like it's a bad thing. Nice girls, they're pathetic. Here's to evil skanks.
Was that Abaddon?
No, it was Rowena.
Oh, damn it. Yeah.
Quote number 10. This is very complex. If the man truly loves the babysitter, why does he keep slapping her rear? Perhaps she has done something wrong.
Castiel.
Yes, that was Castiel in season 6, episode 10, Caged Heat. All right, and your bonus question.
Woohoo.
I'm ready to die, and I'm ready to watch people I love die, but I'm not ready to be your bitch.
Oh, Dean.
No, that was Sam. From this season,
okay,
from season 11, episode 10, The Devil in the Details, as he was telling Lucifer, not your bitch.
That's right. Fuck. Well, I did pretty good. I only missed 3.
Pretty good. Yeah, you're like a C.
I'll take it.
C's passing.
It was a B before the bonus.
Hey, I think I've had many a therapist tell me that I need to shoot for C- work sometimes.
Oh man. That was fun. Those are some good lines.
Yep. All right, so we're going to go back to the bunker and them just putting beers willy-nilly on this table without coasters.
I know. It's such a cool table. It's very disappointing. Yeah. So Dean and talking to Dawn, and they're talking about Chuck, and they don't know if Chuck's going to help. And Sam enters with Metatron because apparently Meta has just been pacing around outside the perimeter of the building and texting Dean a lot of emojis. So they're going to let him in.
What do you think that his emojis are? Like, what emojis does Metatron send Dean? Is he just sending eggplant, slash mark?
Ew. No, I think it's just weird sad faces. Various sad faces.
Cold.
That too, maybe. Yeah. So weird. Well, and he's like, of course you got to let me in, Oh, by the way, hi, Don. I was there when you were designed.
His name is Donatello, so I'm calling him Don.
Donatello is very long to write. But Metatron's like, look, I know the angel tablet, and I know what makes Amara tick. So y'all need all the help you can get, even douche help. And that line was amusing.
Honestly, I mean, Metatron is becoming his most likable. He really is.
He is. Yeah, the last episode in this one for sure. And they're like, okay, well, if the plan is to rescue Lucifer, have him teleport us out of her hideout, convince Chuck to use Lucifer to fight Amara. And right when Dean shares that this is the grand plan, Donatello is like, I know where she is, I think. And then the question is how to keep her busy while they do this. So obviously it's Dean, because she loves him, or whatever her version of that would be. And so Dean goes to the woods to meet her, and she's missed him again, and all the sensations he aroused in her.
Yeah, she starts off being ooey gooey, but ends up being more ooey than gooey.
Correct. And Dean's like, there can't be us. We should walk away. And she's like, why don't you? It's just very dramatic.
Well, and he's trying to put up a wall, and then she calls him out for not really pushing her away. Right. And then we cut from that to like baby driving in some place that seems unsafe.
Yeah. And they're going to some water tower building, and it's Sam, Donatello, and Metatron. And they find Cassifer chained up on some equipment. I don't know. And
he's like crucified to the wood. Like it's a stocks kind of.
It's very weird. And he looks terrible. And immediately starts talking shit and then calls out the new prophet, because of course Lucifer does. So he's pissed that he thinks that he was set up to get grabbed by Amara. And Metatron just kind of goes up there and just starts like doing an incantation. He's just like, whatever, keep talking shit. I'm just going to do my thing. And while that's happening...
He's also undoing like Lucifer's ropes and shit. And I feel like Sam would do that faster. Like maybe use a knife or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And anyways, they're like, come on, we want you to help us. So let's do this. In the woods, Amara wants Dean to consider her offer, given his experience, to be part of her. And Dean's like, I'm not ready to say goodbye to the world, despite its flaws. And she's like, well, it's inevitable. So no one's going to stop me. They can't. So you need to give up your humanity and become boundless with me. I don't know. She's so weird. That's what I got. And back at her lair where she's not, they're freeing Cassifer, and he's like, yeah, I'm open to work with Father. This is bigger than family. Da, 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 da. And Metatron's still doing his incantation, and Sam's just kind of standing there telling him to hurry. It does seems very inefficient. But
yeah, I said, yeah.
And Dean in the woods is admitting to being drawn to Amara, and he can't fight it. And she's like, oh, that's because I'm the end of your struggle. You'll have it all. Right as she's saying that, Metatron frees Cassifer, and Amara touches Dean's face and can tell that something's up. That's her big thing. She can tell, I guess, by his thoughts, then? Is that?
Sure.
And Sam's like, okay, thanks, Lucifer, you're free. Now you got to teleport us all out of here. Because that was the whole plan, right? But he can't. Because he doesn't have the power to do that right now. So back in the woods, Amara now knows that Dean has spoken with God and feels that he has betrayed her. And in the lair, Donatello can feel her coming. So Sam grabs Cassifer and Donatello to go run to the car, and Metatron tells them to go. I got this. So he cuts his hand and draws a sigil in blood. And right as that's happening and the others are getting ready to drive away, Amara appears. And he says something and slams his hand on the sigil. We get a bright light, shoots at her, and it looks like it's something, but as we've learned before, it usually doesn't hurt her at all. And she asks if he was kidding. And since it didn't harm, Metatron just says, he meant well, please spare the universe. She goes, spare this! And she makes him turn into black smoke and disappear. It's very sad.
Yep, spins him away into nothingness.
Yeah. Metatron did get his redemption story, at least, though. I think that was kind of nice as a viewer to get. But all right. So Sam is driving Baby. Donatello looks terrified, and Amara appears in the middle of the road. And so Sam almost hits her. He tries to reverse. She's holding the car there. We get a really nice burnout. Baby doesn't get to do a lot of burnouts, so nicely done. And Amara's like, you really aren't worth sparing, none of you. And then somehow Baby gets booped to inside the bunker. Whole car.
Boop her to the garage. Why did you boop her there? There's a garage.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh, that's cool, except that is not where you would put a car. Weird choice. So, anyways, and they're basically Chuck just strolls in with a 6-pack. Says, occasionally I do answer a prayer. So then Cassifer stumbles forward and they exchange, you've changed. And anyways, so we get our moment, and Cassifer gets healed by Chuck because he was beat up pretty bad. So we've got Sam, Dean, are with Donatello, and he's like, you've met God, Lucifer, and the darkness. That's a big day for anybody, and so you're probably gonna need a spa day or a pair of hookers, which is Dean's. I would take. That's Dean's suggestion. But
maybe a new cat. Poor dude. His cat.
Nice visit to get a new cat.
Why didn't God give his cat back?
That's a very good question.
He just apologized.
Missed opportunity
he could have given
here,
the cat
sir.
back.
Yes.
I wouldn't be a prophet.
Right. So Donatello's like, I don't really know what I'm going to do after this. I don't think I can go back to academia or being an atheist, but I'm going to get in this cab and leave right now. So we have a brief conversation with Dean and Sam about Metatron and how he took one for the team. But Sam wants to know if Dean's going to share what happened with Amara, and Dean does. I think this is a big growth where Dean has actually shared twice now what is happening with him and Amara. So earlier in the episode, he shared that, like, hey, she's kind of like visiting me and it's weird. And now he's like, yes, she wants me to literally be part of her forever. So fun.
No. That's probably a red flag on your dating profile.
To become part of me and boundless for eternity. That is not a good way to find a date.
We want to be boundless. No. Oh. So let's find out who Professor Redfield, Donatello.
Casting couch. It's the casting couch. Were they on that show that time with that guy? La 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 la.
Not Don. Yeah. I'm sorry, he's just not a Don.
All right. Well, Donatello Redfield is played by Keith Sarabajka. That's my best guess at pronouncing that last name. He has a pretty massive career. He's been in episodes of shows going back to Miami Vice, Kung Fu, Walker, Texas Ranger, Law and Order multiple times, Party of Five, Star Trek Voyager, X-Files, Star Trek Enterprise, ER, Charm, 24, Sons of Anarchy a few times, Criminal Minds, and 911. He was Mickey in the series, the 80s series, The Equalizer, which is a regular. He's like over 50 episodes of that. He was Billy in the movie Andre. That's the one with the seal. He was a diplomatic spook in We Were Soldiers. He was Daniel as a reoccurring character in Angel. Mr. Aziz in Spider-Man 2. Stevens in Dark Knight. And Adam in the movie Argo. He's also done a lot of voice work. Everything from Real Monsters, Angry Beavers, Wild Thornberries, if you want your Nickelodeon fix, as well as Batman Beyond and some other comic book ones, as well as he was the Forbidden King in the movie The Mummy. He did the voice for that. He's also done cartoons of Transformers and Archer, plus a bunch of video games. A lot of voiceover. Yeah,
he was such a jerk in Angel. Such a jerk. Which you would know if you watched it. That is Diana's annual reminder to watch Angel.
I watched a lot of it and then I stopped. I forget why. I don't know. I'll get back in there someday. But yeah, this episode definitely feels like we are in wrapping up the season mode for sure.
Yeah, and we somehow get Kevin back for a minute, and then just to say, like,
tease
as an excuse to like resurrect another prophet, right? So it's making me like that feels very, very Buffy. We've got to kill one to resurrect the next one in line. So,
yeah, and it like once you figure out that we're gonna have a prophet, you're like, oh, that's why they showed us Kevin. Okay, so you kind of piece that together. But yeah, and I think giving Metatron a redemption arc was really a good call because he became such an like almost irredeemable character, and then he became human and he had to figure his shit out. I think that was a really nice touch.
I wanted to hate him.
No
reason why.
He's not fully redeemed. No, he's still a dick. He calls himself a douche.
Well, technically, it's because Dean called him a douche first, but. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure, whatever.
I think it's like you can be a douche, but not like a shitbag douche. I don't know. I guess that was the.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think it was an interesting contrast because he was more helpful than Chuck in some regards, except for when Chuck poofs the car. But
yeah, completely.
But yeah, I'm excited to see where we're going and see what's going to happen with Chuck for sure.
Well, cool. I think on that note, then we'll say cheers, Dirt.
Cheers, bitch.
Devil's Trap Podcast is a Don't Be a Dick production. Meow.
Devil's Trap Podcast is part of the Ship It Studios Podcast Network. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Devil's Trap Podcast, Twitter at Devil's Trap Pod, or you can email us at devilstrap@devilstrappodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave reviews, and share with all your friends. We're at all your favorite podcast outlets and at devilstrappodcast.com. I'm Babe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.